Good evening, Norristown Area School District families and staff. I am Christopher Dormer, Superintendent of Schools. Today is Tuesday, February 16th, 2021. I'm presenting an update regarding our phased return to in-person instruction at tonight's board work session. I'm sharing this video so all members of the NASD community receive the same information in a timely manner. As we approach the one-year anniversary of the direct impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, we affirm as a district that health and safety continue to be our priority and commitment throughout this unprecedented pandemic and once-in-a-lifetime school year. Though we announced in July that we would be virtual through January, our goal has always been to transition to what we know to be the best type of instruction. Students in our classrooms working directly with our amazing NASD teachers when it was safe to do so. It has never been our intention for fully remote or virtual instruction to be the mode of teaching and learning for the entire 2020-2021 school year. Following the published guidance and recommendations of state and federal health officials, we adopted metrics that relied on the data available to us, incidence rates and positivity rates, to help inform our decision about when it would be appropriate to transition to in-person instruction. Given our population density, as well as the disproportionate infection rate and severity of symptoms experienced by communities of color, we adopted even more stringent thresholds to help us navigate what was correctly predicted to be a bad flu season that would parallel significant increases in COVID spread from Halloween through the start of the new year. Simply put, taking this approach was the right thing to do. We were able to safely navigate the worst of the pandemic when incidence rates were 400% above what health officials identified as levels of substantial community transition. As the new calendar year began, we continued to rely on those metrics to guide us and our decision-making. With continued data well above our established thresholds, we twice announced to delay the transition to in-person learning beyond our initial target dates. First on December 22nd, and then again a second delay on January 12th. And here we sit in mid-February, no closer to beginning in-person instruction with the continued use of those metrics. It is my honest assessment that we would only offer virtual instruction this year if we continue just to use those metrics, because we will not fall below our target thresholds in the remaining 16 weeks. While doing so would be a consistent and very cautious course of action, it would also ignore other data that has accumulated since the start of the school year, data that would allow us to consider the transition to in-person learning. Though county metrics have indicated substantial community transmission since November, most of our neighboring school districts in Montgomery County have successfully offered in-person instruction. Their plans have not relied on data metrics to ensure the health and safety of the staff and students who have been on campus for in-person instruction. Their plans have relied on strict mitigation strategies, mask wearing, spacing of 6 feet of social distancing, and staying home when sick. The results have been fairly consistent. When done with fidelity, there has been no transmission linked to schools. No district has been perfect, and yes, neighboring districts have had to isolate, quarantine, and in some cases switch to offering only virtual instruction for short periods of time. When incidents have occurred, there have been two things in common: a symptomatic individual attending school and 6 feet of distancing not being maintained. This past Friday, the CDC released updated guidance for reopening schools, including 5 key mitigation strategies for returning to in-person instruction. Those 5 strategies are universal and correct mask wearing, physical distancing, washing hands, cleaning and ventilation, and contact tracing, isolation, and quarantining. The CDC does not include vaccination as a requirement to open schools, but one that obviously improves health, safety, and a sense of well-being. Likewise, Pennsylvania provided districts the ability to move away from a strictly metric-driven approach to one that relies on mitigation strategies to allow them to transition to in-person instruction when metrics alone would restrict such a move. The process of attestation relies on school districts following strict protocols of mask wearing and social distancing. Back in the fall, we crafted outstanding health and safety plans that employ the very best practices of mitigation for on-site, in-person operations. These plans simply wait for us to begin implementation. ABC News reported over the weekend there has been a 60% drop in cases and hospitalizations nationwide. With county numbers declining for the past 5 consecutive weeks, I feel it is appropriate to consider the transition of our approach from one of exclusion and isolation to one of mitigation. Health and safety will continue to be our priority and our commitment, but we will do so with actions as we afford students who want and need to attend school in person the opportunity to do so. With 50% of our students opting into hybrid, we are confident that we can implement social distancing in all classrooms and all facets of the student's school day, as no more than 25% of students will be on site on any given hybrid day. So where we sit now, simply, it is the right thing to do. Therefore, at next week's regular voting meeting, I will present to the Board of School Directors a revised phased school reopening health and safety plan and a revised athletic health and safety plan that remove our adopted metrics as the singular condition to transition to in-person instruction. I will also present attestation ensuring the implementation of mitigation efforts for your consideration and approval that will allow us to begin a phased return to in-person instruction. I would like to share the proposed timeline for that implementation. We previously shared 5 waves or groups of students who would return to in-person instruction over a period of time. We will utilize these same groups as we propose a new timeline to begin a phased return to in-person instruction. Those Wave 1 and Wave 2 students who have selected hybrid instruction would begin on Monday, March 15th. All returning Central Monco Technical High School students would resume on-site instruction at the tech school following their hybrid schedule. Those Wave 3 students who have selected hybrid instruction would begin on Monday, March 22nd. All first-year 11th and 12th grade students would resume on-site instruction at the tech school. Spring break is March 29th through April 2nd. We would use our time off to assess the successes and challenges of the initial 2-week period of in-person instruction and to make adjustments as needed. Those Wave 4 and Wave 5 students who have selected hybrid instruction would begin on Monday, April 12th, allowing a short gap after spring break to ensure that any spread or exposure that may occur during the break does not immediately impact our schools. All 10th grade Central Monco students would begin on-site hybrid instruction on April 12th. Based on our current metrics for district operation, we will transition to level 3 of district operations effective Monday, February 22nd. This will allow teachers the option to return to school buildings to deliver instruction as we ramp up for the return of students. Other district staff may be recalled to on-site work under the direction of their direct supervisors. All instructional staff would be recalled to full on-site work Monday, March 8th, 1 week in advance of the first wave of hybrid students. The recall of other staff would be done by the Office of Human Resources and by direct supervisors based on their job functions, roles, and responsibilities. As part of the start of in-person on-site instruction, we would also allow sports to begin practices on Monday, March 8th. This date will allow our high school students in all 3 sports seasons to participate in some manner this school year. Though Pennsylvania has indicated a willingness to opt out of accountability testing, this requirement has not yet been waived by the United States Department of Education. It is important to share the upcoming dates for WIDA, PSSA, and Keystone exams testing. We also continue to be mindful of upcoming SAT and PSAT dates for our high school students. Additional details will be shared with students, staff, and families in the very near future, including a day in the life of a hybrid student video so everyone is aware of expectations prior to the first day of in-person instruction. I am sure this recommendation will cause many to feel uneasy and uncertain. We have much to learn about providing hybrid instruction, with some learners in school while most remote on the other side of a computer screen. To me, one thing is clear. It will take the cooperation of everyone involved for this to be a success. Students and families, I understand and appreciate your eager anticipation of this opportunity to return in person. I must stress that your commitment to wearing masks at all times, to maintaining 6 feet of social distancing at all times, and to staying home when you are sick with any illness are the crucial elements of success. Because it is the health and safety of others that would be jeopardized by anyone not following these requirements, we will have no tolerance for noncompliance. I previously stated, and will do so again, that I will not be the superintendent who puts anyone in harm's way. It is with this, that the continued commitment on my part, that I share that students who are not compliant with these requirements will be returned to virtual instruction. We have had 2 academic years impacted by this terrible pandemic. We've had to learn, adjust, and implement as we go. Given the challenges of the vaccine supply, we recognize that we may be living with mitigation and possibly hybrid instruction to start next school year as well. It is not in the best interest of our students, families, staff, and community to endure these types of change and uncertainty for a third time. Not only is it important for us to provide an in-person learning option for those students who want it and need it now, but it is also vital that we learn what we need to learn to begin next school year, prepared to deliver any mode of teaching and learning that may be necessary. This proposed timeline and recommendation affords all of these things. Next week, a revised district health and safety plan, including a revised athletic health and safety plan, and attestation ensuring the implementation of mitigation efforts will be on the agenda for the board's consideration. As always, I invite everyone to please visit the district website, follow us on Facebook and Twitter for additional information. I thank everyone for your continued support, your patience, and your grace through these unprecedented times. Thank you, and have a great evening.